Okay, so good morning. It's 8:05 on Monday morning on April 1st, and I appreciate all of you guys being so flexible with my jury duty. And I know it's been a little rough on you guys being unable to come to class in person to ask questions. This is not what I had planned, but I'm hoping for today that you are able to join me. If you're watching this as a recording, the key things you're looking for today is how to peer edit online, and I am going to go through those steps. If you are watching live, you can turn your microphone on at any point and ask me a question. You can also use the chat box to send me a question as well. So I'm going to start. So I'm going to turn my screen off and I'm going to start sharing my Canvas page. So our Canvas page, so that you can see it. Once again, if you have any questions, just turn on your microphone and let me know. Okay, so changes that I've made. Let's start by looking at the calendar as we do in our regular in-person class. Let's open that up for you. You might have to share the screen a little bit different now. Hi, Carla. Glad you're here also. I see. We've just started, so you haven't missed anything. Carla, if you can't hear me, type in the chat box, but hopefully you can hear me as well. You might have to turn your volume on. I'm going to be sharing the schedule for a minute. Here we go. So what we're looking right now is our regular schedule. And you can see that, whoops, you just had spring break. Yay, you're all rested up. And we are doing Writer's Workshop today, but we're going to be doing it online. It's a little tricky. I'm going to teach you how to do that, but just jump in and ask questions if you have it. I've changed the due date for essay number 3. Essay number 3 is going to be due on Friday. Gives you a little bit more time. Especially since I'll be in jury duty all week and I won't even be able to grade it until this weekend. To my knowledge, it looks like Wednesday's class is going to be canceled because of jury duty. Once again, I don't know if they're going to settle the case. So if they do, we will have class, but I will let you know as soon as I know. Odds are there won't be class on Wednesday. I won't even be having an online session like this as well, but I will keep you posted. Okay, so that is our schedule. No matter what, I'm really confident that the time we get to essay number 4, that I will be back in person teaching at 8 a.m. But once again, I'm always available in the evening through email and other forms. Okay, so I'm just going to type a message in the chat box really clear, 1 minute here, in case students out there can't hear me. Okay, and once again, even though hopefully you guys can see my face, don't worry, I can't see your faces, so you know, your cameras are off and everything, so you don't have to worry about what you look like on camera. I'm the only one who had to worry about that this morning. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my Canvas page so we can take a look at that. Let's go back to Canvas. Okay, whoops, that's not where I want Canvas. There we go. I want Canvas there. I want to check one more thing on the peer edits. Let me just quickly check those. Okay, so the 2 students who turned them in are Danielle and Jaden, I think he did. Let me just take a quick look. Let me see where my 2 students turned it in. Yes, Jaden. So what you can see from this list here is I've assigned everybody to read Danielle's and, whoops, hold on, I got a chat coming in. Hold on, let me see. Oh, Carla, you can't hear me. Let me just take a second to help Carla. And Danielle, if you have advice for Carla also on how to turn her microphone on. You can go ahead and, I just told Carla to look for the microphone button icon. And let's see. I'm going to type one more message. And I know Danielle's able to hear, so if Danielle has any ideas, the microphone button, the volume, I think it all does it when you press join audio. Oh, so let me tell her to hit join audio. Okay, well, she probably can't hear me say join audio, but I think she might be able to read your message. You said you think it's at the bottom left to start video button, it automatically press join audio. Oh, it looks like Elizabeth is here also. So Elizabeth, same thing. If you can hear me, if you can't hear me, let me know. I'm just typing another message. Carla and Elizabeth. There we go. Oop, I didn't mean to send that privately. I meant to send that to everybody. Okay. So hopefully, it's also an invite button, participant, share screen, and chat. It should be on the left. Okay, so Danielle's telling everyone, look on the left. Okay. I think I typed everyone differently there, but I'm going to keep talking. And once again, if you guys hopefully are trying to figure out how to find the audio on this, I'm still going to go a little bit slow here to see everybody's getting on there. Okay. So let me just check once again. Hopefully you guys can see me and hear me. Looks like just checking to see if everybody is doing okay. Looks like so. Okay, so I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. Let me go back to sharing. Okay, so what you're looking at is, you can't see this on your, oh, I see another message coming in. Okay, yeah, Carla, check your settings. I'm just going to send her a message. There we go. Okay, so we're looking at my screen. You can't see this on your screen, but basically everybody is going to peer edit Danielle's and Jaden's essay, except Danielle's going to only do Jaden and Jaden's only going to do Danielle. So on Canvas, well, before we even talk about peer editing, I want to talk a little bit about the essay. So I'm going to go back to module, and I'm going to go, oops, let me fix my mouse here. I am going to go back to the directions for the essay. Once again, your directions are to compare and contrast the experiences of Joy Castro, Gloria Anzaldúa, and you have had with voice. When you look, oops, I think I might hear somebody. Is that you, Carla or Elizabeth? Well, I hear one of you guys, not much, but you might want to, if it helps you, you can turn your microphone off. Once you find the button, you can hit cross out if you don't want me to hear you. But if you do want me to hear you, great, just speak up. That's awesome. Okay, so I'm on the screen share once again, and oops, let me see here. What I wanted to point out to you was on the background part here, this quote right here is a really good quote that you could add to your essay, especially on the paragraph when you're writing about how Gloria uses her voice now. So if you're struggling to find a quote for how she uses her voice now, this is a really good quote that you could add as well. Okay, so once again, you're comparing and contrasting. It's 1,500 to 750 words. We're going to take a look at the works cited page today. I'm going to help you out a little bit about that because that might have been tricky. I am looking for quotes and paraphrases. So hopefully that will give you a little bit of guidance there. Let me take you back. I'm just going to check my chat messages, see if anybody's got anybody anybody's got any problems hearing this. And let me go back. Okay, so now I'm just going to go to, I am going to share my screen once again of Canvas. I'm going to jump on back to Canvas, and I am going to go to Modules, and I'm going to once again look at the suggested outline for compare and contrast essay. Once again, you have your hook or catchy opening. That's less important to me than the other parts. What does voice mean? What have been some of the challenges people face with voice? You know what I think I'm going to do? I think I am going to copy and paste this into word processing so I can type on it a little bit. So give me a minute here so I can open up some word processing and have it take a little bit closer look at it. Okay, let me reshare this screen. Let's see if I can find it. I think this is it. Okay, whoop, that is not the screen I wanted to share. I think, hold on, let me try to find it better. There we go. Let me try to share the correct screen. This is the one. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see on your screen the actual outline. I'm going to just type some information on there. When it says, what does voice mean? One of the things we talked about in class was voice was you can have some type of definition where, hi Carla, hopefully you can hear me now, where you can have some kind of definition of, let me see, expressing, sorry about my typing, ideas and opinions. Whoops, be nice if I could type properly this morning. As well as being heard. And that's a key factor in there, that it's not just expressing your ideas and your opinions, that it is actually also people listening to you. And it doesn't always have to be oral expression. It can be artistic expression. It can be written. On the part of what have been some challenges people face with voice, you might have written things about embarrassment. You know, people are embarrassed that if they say their ideas, they'll be made fun of. Fear of punishment, that if they say the wrong thing or they do it the wrong way, they're going to be punished. Embarrassment. Feeling like they have nothing to say. All of these came out in the stories we read. For example, Joy Castro felt she had nothing to say in the conversation about Stephen Greenblatt. She felt all the other students had better ideas than her. Fear of punishment. Gloria Anzaldúa, we see her getting slapped on the hand with a ruler for what was assumed as speaking back to the teacher. Being embarrassed of your accent. So all of these could be different ideas you can put in that introduction. For your thesis statement, once again, you should, let me just stop. Hold on, I got to reshare my screen really quickly because I just want to check the chat, see if everybody's doing okay. Okay, I'm going to then reshare my screen. One moment, please. Okay, so then your thesis sentence should be that one sentence that answers the whole writing prompt in the sentence. Let me just kind of give you a generic one to start with. Oops, let me change it to red font. Okay, fix all my typos in there. There we go. This would be, oh, that is not how to spell her name. There we go. So a generic thesis would be something like this. There are similarities and differences between my experience with voice and those of Castro and Anzaldueo. That would be a nice generic one to get you started. Later on, you might have redeveloped it, expanded it to be a little more insightful. Let me give you some templates for that as well. Something like this, where you'd have the same part, but point out the reasoning behind it. What do we learn about everybody having struggles with voice, their voice being suppressed, the desire to express yourself? But that, whatever you would put in there, is kind of what you identify in your conclusion paragraph, okay? That global insight, that higher level thinking. Notice when you moved on to the Joy Castro's experience with voice, this isn't necessarily one paragraph. This possibly could be divided into 2 or 3 paragraphs depending on how you arranged it. When it says, how was her voice suppressed, you'd have some kind of answer. In her case was educators not listening to her. In the first event you might have talked about was wanting that professor who was writing about domestic abuse, who was only going to publish the article. So the specific event you might talk about is sorry for my typos there. You might talk about the professor that ignores Castro's idea for her to write to a broader audience. And what was her reaction to this? She is frustrated. That is true. But at this point, her voice isn't quite suppressed. She's willing to take one more chance. Another event you might want to write about are her classroom experiences. Especially when she confronts the professor about, hey, let's read some writing from Bell Hooks, and the professor's like, well, I'll see, just kind of brushes her off. Or the other classroom experience, when the professor is like, hey, we're going to talk about Stephen Greenblatt, and she's like, wait, who cares about him? Let's talk about real women. And it's not just the professor at this point who shoots her down, but a classmate who she respects kind of shoots her down. At this point, it does quiet her. It does make her more introverted. How does she eventually use her voice? You're going to really talk about, well, number one, she is a writer, and we know that she's expressing her voice through writing because we are reading on becoming educated. So she's learned to express herself. We also see that not only that, but she is a professor, and she teaches in an all-boys school, an all-male school with conservative ideas. So she's gained her voice, and she's willing to push those challenges right in those type of environments. Okay? So when you're doing this, make sure you have some quotes. Make sure you paraphrase. Go back to the lab. We did the lab assignment where you did write quotes, where you did do paraphrasing. Go back into Canvas and use those. The same you would do. Let me just pause and stop sharing for a second. Let's see if we can go back here. Any questions at this point? You guys can put them in the chat box, or you can just speak. If your microphone's on, I'll hear you. But otherwise, guys, okay. You guys are quiet in class too. That's fine. That's fine. Let me reshare my screen once again. No questions. Good. Let me share my screen one more time. Okay, so now we're looking at the outline, and we're looking at Gloria's experience with voice and how her voice was suppressed. You might want to write about her experiences with her mother, how her mother in particular was telling her you should only be speaking English because it'll get you a job. You might want to write about her college experiences, how she had to take classes to get rid of her accent, with the assumption that having an accent means you're unintelligent. You might talk about her elementary school experiences. Sorry about my typos there. Elementary school experiences with, oops, I think I might see a chat question coming in. Let's see. Oh, good, good. Got the audio to work. So you might be talking about her elementary school experiences, the physical punishment that she went through. In the last paragraph here, or the last section here, how does she eventually use her voice? Very much like Joy. She becomes a writer. But I really like that quote once again. If you go back into, I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second because I'm going to try to share a different screen of a great place to put a quote. Let's see. I'm on a different screen now. I know I keep flipping screens around here on you guys. It's going to make you dizzy in a minute. When you go back to the directions, there we go, directions. This quote right here, I'm even going to copy and paste it. That quote, and let me open my other screen, would work really well right here. Whoops, let me fix my screen. Hold on, things aren't looking good there. Ah, I see, it just made a whole bunch of numbers. That's why, that looks weird. Get it's all on the same screen. Okay, one good quote to use is, and how does she use her voice? She says, I will no longer be made to feel ashamed of existing. I will have a voice. Indian, Spanish, white. I will have my serpent tongue, my woman's voice, my sexual voice, my poet's voice. Okay, you're welcome to use any quote, but that one works really well there. And the next spot, and the next part of it, you're going to be looking at the similarities and differences. Let me kind of scoot this in between, let me scoot this over here. The similarities and differences between Castro and Anzaldúa. And there's a lot more similarities. One of the big differences, let me type it up, is the language. For Gloria Anzaldúa, her biggest challenge was the language of Spanish, Tex-Mex, Spanglish, English with an accent, whereas Castro didn't have that. Castro was only speaking English, but the rest of the similarities are there. The voice being, so the big similarity is the voice being suppressed. Okay, so I typed that on the screen as well for you guys. Okay. Those were the hardest parts of the essay, more than likely. The easier part, so I'm hoping, let me get rid of this highlight here for a second, was your experience. Has your voice ever been suppressed, or could be currently still? And describe some events. Maybe it was in childhood, where the family theory was children are to be seen, not heard. Maybe it was with a group of friends when you had a controversial idea. Maybe to this point, there are still levels in your family where listening, when your elders are speaking, when your parents are speaking, your grandparents are speaking, people of an older generation are speaking, you remain quiet. Now, many students in my 8 a.m. class are very quiet. So do some self-exploration. Why are you so quiet? Are you quiet because you're tired in the morning? Okay, that's not voice suppression. Are you quiet because maybe you're embarrassed that your idea will get shot down? I hope that's not true. Maybe you're quiet because you feel you might not have something to say. I hope that's not true, but it could be. Just think about those reasons and add it in there. Where do you use your voice now? Or are you still silent, or a combination? Once again, critical thinking. How are you similar and different? Do you speak a second language? Do you speak that second language at home? Do you have teachers that you feel discourage your voice? So all of these ideas about your personal experience, I would say that part of your essay might be about a page and a half long. I would say you should at least have a page and a half about Joy Castro. Same with Gloria, page and a half. And then move on to your conclusion paragraph. I'm going to switch screens once more. Sorry about all these switching here. Conclusion paragraph, okay? Which were the best ways to promote a strong voice? We see that Castro has a strong voice as in the later part of her life as a professor and a writer. We see the same with Gloria. She's a writer. So what made them have the strong voice? Was it something internally in themselves? Did they find someone to connect with? And the reason we want to know that is we want to promote voice. We want everyone to feel they have a seat at the table. Everyone to feel their voice matters. Looking at which were some of the most harmful ways that suppress voice. We need to know what suppresses voice so we don't repeat those mistakes. We don't want people feeling like their ideas don't matter, that they have nothing to contribute. And we don't want children to think that their voice doesn't matter, that they couldn't come to an adult and explain if they've been a victim of abuse or treated unfairly or have some fears that they want to share. What steps will you take in your academic and personal life to increase your voice? Okay, maybe it's even, starting talking in your 8 a.m. class. I know it's a little early. Maybe, it's totally okay to be an introvert. Nobody has to feel they have to be always loud and speaking. Maybe you'll express your voice more through the discussion groups. Maybe you'll do it more in small groups, and even in your personal life, with your family, with your friends, with your relationships. How are you going to listen more to others, which is part of voice, and how are you going to express yourself? Once again, it doesn't always have to be orally and talking. Writing, art, dance, music. There's many ways to express your ideas and opinions. And then give some advice. What should colleges and other public institutions, governments, for example, do to encourage voice? Voting is a very, in public institutions, how should they encourage more people to vote in the United States? Social media, how can they encourage more people to express positive opinions? Those are things you should think about. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second. I'm just going to check my chat box in case anybody, here it goes. Is that quote, Danielle asked, is that quote you said would be good for when Gloria ends the user voice? Is that from How to Tame a Wild Tongue? Yes, that is from How to Tame a Wild Tongue, that quote. It's definitely from that handout. That's where I got it from. Thank you for that question. Okay. So now I'm going to go over how we are going to peer edit online. I know it's a new experience. It'll feel different, but once you get the hang of it, it's not too tricky. It might take me a few steps to show you. So let me go back to Canvas. I'm going to share my screen, my Canvas screen, so I can teach you how to peer edit online. You will have little more than 24 hours to peer edit online. So you're not going to have to do it right now like we do it in class. You'll have until Tuesday night at 11:59. It'll give you time to learn how to use those Canvas tools to peer edit online to get some help if you need it, okay? So let me switch my screen over. I am back on Canvas. Hopefully you can see Canvas. And on Canvas, obviously you guys found Confer Zoom unless you used the link. That's how we got to it this morning. On your screen, hopefully yours will look a little different than mine. Mine says peer edit 2 assigned essays. And you're coming up on your schedule, it'll probably have, Danielle's name and Jaden's name. Unless you're Danielle or Jaden. Because those are the 2 essays everybody's been assigned to peer edit. I'm just going to click on my screen, but if you have your Canvas open, you might want to check to see if those have been assigned to you. You'll see under Peer Edit 2 assigned essays that we've done step 1, you've turned in your essay, and we've done step 2, I've assigned everyone Peer Edit partners. Once again, on your screen, it might look a little different than mine, but over on the right-hand side, you probably will see a place that'll say Jaden's name and Danielle's name. I'm going to stop sharing. Well, in the chat box, I'm going to just look at the chat box. If you don't see the names of essays of who, whoops, if you don't see the names of the essays of who you're to be peer editing, shoot me a message in the chat box or go ahead and just speak up and maybe I'll hear you if your microphone's on. Okay, I'm going to go back to, no messages there, so I'm going to go back to Canvas. Let's see, Canvas, there we go. Okay, so the next step you're going to do sometime today is you're going to download this peer edit form. So you're going to click on this form, save it wherever you do your desktop or so forth, on desktop, open it up. Mine's just opening really slowly here. Let me see if I can find that peer edit form. There it goes. Whoops, I think my peer edit form opened. Let me reshare my screen. Let's reshare this. Okay, so you're going to download this form that says Peer Edit Compare Contrast Essay. The writer's name in all your cases will probably, you'll at least have Jaden's to do. And some of you, other than Danielle, have Danielle's. And you are the writer. So, you know, you're either going to write Carla or Elizabeth or whatever your name is. Okay, so type in your name there. When you're reading your classmate's essay, it'll say, does the essay begin with a hook or catchy opening? You can type yes, you can type no. So you either can type little X's if that's what you prefer, or you can just highlight if that makes it easier for you. Does the thesis fully address the prompt? Yes or no. Is there a section about Joy Castro? Yes or no. I think there's a chat question there. Let me just make sure I can see all the chats. Okay. Good. Thank you for letting me know you were able to do it. Perfect. Gloria, you know, yes or no. So you have all these little questions to answer. It's 2 pages. It's just like the regular, it's 2 pages because the spacing's big. It's just like the regular peer edit form we would use in class, but this time you're going to type on it. Make sure you save it wherever you save it. I'm going to save mine on my desktop. There we go. Just so that you can find it. Okay, so when you read your person's essay, that's one of the steps you do is the peer edit form. Okay, let me go back to sharing my screen. And I just go back to Canvas. Okay, so that would be step 3. You're going to read the person's essay and fill out the form. Step 4 is a little trickier. Oh, and by the way, and I'm gonna, well, so you download the form. Step 4 is the trickier part, and there are lots of videos on YouTube, including one from me. So if you just go on YouTube, I have to move this chair here for a second. If you just go on YouTube and type in Valerie Bronstein, how to peer edit on Canvas, you'll also see my video. There's lots of there. I'm going to show you now how to review your classmate's essay using the markup tools. Those are highlights, strikeouts, and comments. Because you won't have a paper copy of your essay to give your classmate. This is how you go about it. Let me see if I can. Danielle, do you mind if I use your essay? Maybe? Okay. I'm going to assume Danielle's going to let me do that. Thanks. Good. Thank you. I appreciate that. Good. So let me show you what you can do. So you're going to open up, you should have access to Danielle's essay. So let's say there's a few tools here. One tool is a highlight. Let's pretend she did this incorrectly, which she didn't. It is correct. You could highlight that and put, you know, fix the date. Okay. Now, of course, she doesn't need to fix her date, so I'm going to delete that. So if you put a comment, you can delete it. Whatever you put on there, you can delete. So you have highlight tools. You also have tools to mark things. Like I'm just randomly marking something. Let's pretend I want to put a little comment here. I could say, fix the spelling. Of course, there is no spelling error there. I'm just saying that as an example. You have those tools. You have tools where you can type. Delete extra space. Okay? Actually, you might need to delete that extra space. It looks like there's an extra one there. You can put that. So your tools are, you have a highlighter, you have something you can type with, you even have a strikeout. So let's pretend we wanted to strike out things, cross things out. Cross things out and say, delete the wrong word. Okay? So that would be how. Now, of course, these are okay, so I'm going to take them off right now. Let me just hit the little garbage can. And let me get rid of this one. I'm going to leave the delete the extra space one on there. Okay. So what you would do is you would go through your essay. Notice that as soon as you type something, it automatically saves. Okay? It automatically saves. There's no save button or anything like that. You can change pages like this. You can open it to make it bigger or smaller. Oh, you can draw a box around something. So all these are the different tools. These are what I call the markup tools. So when I say use markup tools, that's what I'm talking about. Over here in the comment box, that is where you would upload the peer edit form. So once you fill it out, you might want to say something like, loved your essay. Comments. Oh, peer edit form attached. And then you would just, oop, I wish I spelled that right. Then you would click, just like adding a file, you would find the peer edit form that you filled out earlier on Voice. And there it is. So now Danielle can see the comments on your peer edit form, and she can see the markups. Okay. What do you guys, does that, I know that might sound confusing. Are there any questions on how to peer edit online? You have until Tuesday at 11:59 to peer edit those essays online. You should only spend, 10, 15 minutes on each. I'm just giving you extra time so you can learn those tools. You can definitely call the Canvas help desk. They're very helpful. Just say, I need help peer editing. Oh, I know one more thing. Let me switch back for a second to Canvas. Let me switch back. Where'd my Canvas go? Okay, sometimes when you go to open up the essay, let me see, can I write on this? Oh, annotate, let's see. Oh, I can actually write text. Sometimes over here, it'll say view feedback. If you do not see an essay, if it looks blank, if you're well, I wanted to draw. Let's see, how do I draw? I'm gonna draw, woo, there we go. If you open up the essay, Danielle or Jaden's essay, and it looks blank, over in the right-hand corner, it'll say View Feedback. Click on View Feedback and, oops, let me stop this. And then the essay should pop up. Well, now I have those things on here. Okay, so if it disappears, just click on View Feedback. Just checking to see if anybody's got any questions on that. Okay, no questions yet on that. So you have until Tuesday night to do that and Friday night to complete your, whoops, I don't want to do that. Until Friday night to complete your essay. I am going to turn the recording off right now. I'm going to, let me cancel this. I'm going to turn the recording off right now. You're welcome to, if you understand everything, you're welcome to step out of the meeting. If you have questions, stay on Zoom, Confer Zoom. Send me an email. I'm not going to jury duty until 9:15 this morning, so I'll be online checking for questions, helping you in any way I can help you. I really apologize for this jury duty, so I'm turning off the recording. So I'm going to be posting this recording so you can replay it. I'm just hitting stop. I think